just test to see if this is working.
Is everything functioning?
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Welcome to Sunday night's Forbidden Lands campaign. We're broadcasting out of the Maritimes, so for us it's 8 p.m., but I guess for a lot of people it won't be. I am Mikael Hellström, your friendly game master for tonight. We are lacking a player tonight because of technical troubles associated with his laptop and connectivity issues. Let's hope he can make it out and work it out. Jeremy, we miss Fidan. We want to see him by the table. If not, Fidan has apparently eaten something that didn't agree with him at the inn, which is completely plausible plot-wise.
That's what he gets for not eating Frida's cooking.
Exactly. Some shout-outs before we start. First of all, I just want to say that the Hellhag Productions, which is my lovely wife, Eleanor, has made the overlays, which are wonderful. So thank you to her for taking the time to do that and to produce this stream. And I shall also introduce all the players that are in fact here. Joshua, Jessica, and Chris. So they will, in a moment, tell you everything about what their characters will do. But before we get to starting the actual game, I did want to make a small announcement about our shadow player recruitment. This is something that I do in a lot of my campaigns. What is a shadow player? Basically, I am outsourcing some of the faction leaders that are involved in moving things behind the scenes in the Forbidden Lands. Forbidden Lands, this setting, as described and designed by Erik Granström, has a lot of different factions. There are leaders everywhere that have different interests, different agendas, and as such, the player characters may well find themselves in positions that actually will affect power balances and whatnot, I'm shocked to say. But on the other hand, we can also say that some of these faction leaders are very likely to affect what the player characters encounter during play. And that is something that I do between the sessions. I've done so before in Delta Green, in Svalvinter, which is another free league game, in Vampire the Masquerade. So I've done it in a lot of campaigns over the past decades. For this campaign, I'm going to need, well, several shadow players. I'm topping up at 9 at most, but I can go lower. And it's entirely possible, if we do this, that some of that work that we do between the sessions, that we might record it and play it at the end of the session to give you a sense of what's happening behind the scenes, and that gives the players also some idea about what is happening away from where their characters are. So that's something that I'm recruiting for now, and I will keep doing until I have a full roster and we can get that part of the game. So in that sense, this will become both a live streamed role-playing campaign and a bit of a board game behind the scenes as well. So that's an announcement that I wanted to make for today. And rounding out the announcements, I want to just reaffirm the content warning. This is being played as a rated R movie. Someone said that Forbidden Lands is essentially the Western version of a fantasy setting. I think that's pretty apt. So this would then be, shall we say, Quentin Tarantino-esque at some points, probably. We saw some of that last session with when Freda really could, end the argument, as it were. So there are certain things that we've discussed it with the players before during session 0 and between the sessions about what kind of content we don't want to include. But viewers should be aware that this is the Forbidden Lands are also very forbidding and not at all a nice place to live necessarily. So there can be scenes that are not comfortable for everyone. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyhow, when we last, did we have anything else to say before we start with the actual play? Okay. Let's hope that Jeremy manages to straighten things out and is able to join us before the session is over. But if not, Vidan has a case of bad stomach from eating something at that little barn. When we last met our heroes, I was going to say, or not heroes, rogues and raiders. This is not a heroic game necessarily. When we last met our rogues and raiders, you
Protagonist? Protagonist
yes,
works.
protagonist is a good word. When we last met our protagonist, you traveled from Peddler's Rest, that little collection of clay huts on the river, to see finally, after a lot of weeks of staying through the bad weather in Peddler's Rest, you traveled to Fort Riverstone to see if some of the rumors and legends surrounding that area might be true or not. On the way, you were, well, I'm not going to say ambushed. They tried to set an ambush for you, and you didn't see them early enough to see them preparing the ambush. But Frida's sharp nose and the strong insight skills of others in the group noticed that it was all an act. They were basically pretending to be terribly wounded. They had gone to some lengths to do that too, including slaughtering a pig and using pig intestines to simulate wounds. But they were trying to capture you guys, and it turns out that they were in fact going to. They saw you as an easy mark, only one of you carrying a sword, and they were basically trying to capture you and drag you off and sell you as slaves, possibly in Grindbone. You've heard of that village before. And you turned the tables on them in sometimes the most gruesome ways. Uh, so now you have, I'm going to say, 2 captives, not 3, because we looked at the rules. And we're still learning the rules a little bit here. We looked at the rules and noticed that you can use healing hands to stop critical wounds. That's a higher level on the druid path, level 2. So one of them would have bled out before you got to Riverstone. Anyway, you did get to Riverstone, and the guards there did take the prisoners off your hand, and you found that little barn-ish thing that is supposedly a tavern, or what passes for that at this location. And you will basically wake up there this morning after having had a good night's sleep, which means that any damage you've taken in one of your tracks will be healed. If you've taken 2 quarter days to rest, you can use that time to heal up 2 tracks. But otherwise, yes, you are now in this little village, really. And you have to decide what to do with the day. Is a better track. This village, as you wake up on this morning, there's clouds in the sky. There's no rain today. It's chilly, just above freezing in the early hours of the morning. Still spring, right? So hasn't warmed up that much yet. You're basically in a converted barn. I'll show you on Roll20. So there we go. And yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. It's all wooden here. The beds are really roughly put together wooden frames that someone has sort of just strapped cloth over and then filled the cloth with hay to make it somewhat sleepable. There's lots of straw on the floor to keep you to soak up spills, really, in case it's necessary. The matron who is running this place, I suppose, is a thin and spiderly-looking old lady who's trying the best she can. She's a bit hunched over after all the years, and she hasn't even given you her name yet. She's very gruff. Judging from her looks, she seems to be of Islander or Alderlander stock. She would be taller than, say, an Asleen, for instance. And yeah, she's kind of, well, she's not working very hard to get an extra tip, let's say. Maybe she's just foul in the morning. Who knows? But you're not entirely alone in this barn. There is, in fact, one other person, a few other people. There will be, in fact, 2 halflings in there as well, having a chat. None of them being, in fact, your halfling friend from before, Rosalind. You haven't seen her since yesterday. And there is a fellow there as well, also by the looks of it, a traveler. He has over his bed frame there is a bit of a duster, and he's put a hat on one of the posts there. It's kind of wide-brimmed hat. He himself has green clothes, hoses, tunic, and you will notice, in fact, as he's turning his raven black hair around when he's looking over his things and scratching his head to find things in his little packs, that he does have that hint of pointed ears that half-elves usually do have. So what do you do?
Well, we've got a couple of horses that we can try to sell. We might be able to find a market for those here.
Yep.
But
Likely.
I need to pick up some healing herbs or something of that nature as well, just in case the roads seem to be a little bit dangerous. So something to help patch you guys back together would be good.
I always appreciate that. You should probably look for something to make more rations.
Yeah. You can buy typically field rations or the equivalent from merchants. Very often they will offer to sell for you. But of course you haven't really been here during the day before, so we'll see what the town has to offer, or the fort really, because it's not a town. There's an awful lot of sound coming from outside right now in the morning, in fact. Sheep bleating and cows demonstrating their displeasure. And just judging by the sound and commotion, it seems like the herdsmen are getting their herds out of, the shepherds are getting their herds out of the gate now, possibly. A lot of noise, for sure.
Do we recognize the halflings that are currently having a chat? Were they originally part of Rosalind's?
No.
we traveled with?
Her retinue consists of 2 fairly heavy-set and robust Asleens, probably, by the looks of their clothes. Shorter humans, broad shoulders, and judging by the tendency to wear patterns on their tunics, Asleens.
Well, I'll kind of look at the old lady that's running the place, and
Yep.
I'll kind of like I'll nudge Brainar, and I'll kind of give him like the eye wiggle, and then I'll like look back at her. I mean, he's old and she's old, so they must have things in common.
Clearly.
Fair enough. So yeah, Brainar will go over to the owner of the establishment.
Well, that would be sort of her.
Yep.
No,
And
all seems to be, she's sort of putting out. She just produced a couple of bowls of some kind of porridge, possibly for the halflings. And then she'll look up at you and say, "What do you want?"
there was a halfling that traveled with us yesterday, and we're wondering if she stayed at this establishment last night.
Nah, haven't seen her. She's missing a few teeth.
Can you bring some of that porridge by chance to our table?
Sure. So in this game, when you decide to buy for a meal, that typically covers the entire day. So you have to decide if you're going to use from your rations to cover most of your food needs. If you're taking something small here at this place that won't be enough to cover you for the entire day, I'm not going to keep track of how many cuppers and that's going to affect you. So
Well, without my bank being around, I am like, broke.
Didn't I make like a dozen rations worth of cheese and bread before we left?
Yes, you did. Yeah, you still have 2 days worth of rations from that you made in Peddler's Rest for sure.
Oh boy, carrot stew.
No, I made cheese and bread too.
Yeah, you milked the cows.
Yeah.
This would be awesome if we had some meat to go with it.
Well, I will go see what I can find in the market.
Well, we can either sell the horses, or we can cook the horses.
Well, which of you is going to be better at selling stuff because they're not going to buy it from me?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I can stand behind you and scare them into giving you a better price. That might not go over well, though.
The old crone is
not if we're going to be here for a while.
The old crone is kind of walking around Frida because
Yeah.
I don't think she's seen a wolfkin before.
I highly doubt anybody here has seen a wolfkin before.
Some might, because they're still, traveling mercenaries that are wolfkin. But north here, it's gonna be few and far between.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can go with you and protect you, but you'll have to do the talking.
Okay, I mean, we can also ask around town. There might be something that needs doing, or might be some spaces around the wilds here that we can go and investigate.
I am good with labor.
Yep.
Can I have myself an insight check? Anyone can do it. Probably the one with the best skill rating, but
I got one.
That's yeah. You could push the roll. You don't have any successes at this point. You can push the roll if you want, but that will hurt you a little bit.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. My page didn't scroll down.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not going to push it.
Fair enough. Yeah, Brennar is. How insightful are you? Well, a little bit. You could roll.
Okay.
Well, there we go. Okay, you have a success, and you don't have to push it.
I definitely won't.
Okay.
Don't want to hurt that brain.
You will notice, in fact, that this half-elven fellow is kind of eyeing you. Every once in a while, and he's a young fellow too, judging by, when he's not looking down and doing something, he seems to be fairly young. And maybe there's insecurities there for him. But yeah, every once in a while he shoots an eye or two towards you, and then he looks away when you look towards him.
Do I recognize him even remotely past the fact that obviously he's a half elf?
No.
I'll do the similar back to Marita and kind of look at the half elf, nudge Marita, look at the half elf again.
I don't think he's my type.
Yeah, he's not packing swords or armor or anything like that. If anything, you can see that there's some parchment scrolls there. There's some writing tools, and in fact, Marita, when you come to think of it, some of the things that you can just see because he's opening his backpack and he's checking things, and where's my purse, things like that. Where's my money bag, things like that, and you will be able to see that there are one or two trappings in there that could match a druid, perhaps, like spell components.
Oh. Well, I'll just motion for him to come over the next time he looks up. I'll be like, come on.
Yeah, there's you do think that you saw a wand in there.
See, maybe he's another wizard like you.
Yeah, at that, Brainard actually probably would step off from the table and
Yeah.
go over and introduce himself.
He looks up. Hello.
Hi, it's not very common seeing another of our kind around here. Do you want to come join me at our table with my friends over there? And I gesture over at at Frida
Yes.
and Marita.
I'd like that, please. Yes. Yeah. He does though.
Would you like some gruel?
I suppose that can't hurt.
We have better food than
I'm a
gruel.
bit hungry. Yeah. I wouldn't mind at all, actually. Thank you.
We have better food than gruel, but we don't know if we like this guy or not.
This is fair.
So what is your name?
My name is Green Walker.
Green Walker.
Yes.
So we noticed you. Well, Brainard actually noticed you watching us, looking at us. Can we ask why?
He's kind of leaning forwards a bit. I was hoping that maybe one of you might be a druid like me. And he's kind of looking at you a bit conspiratorically.
Why is being a druid sketchy?
No, it's not. It's not at all. No, of course not. No.
You seem very sketched out. Are you okay?
I can tell you later. This is an actual whisper, so it's not a theater whisper. He's really just.
Okay.
Well, if we find a druid, what should we tell them you're looking for?
Well, I was hoping we might work together on a sensitive mission task.
Does this task pay?
He's looking.
I'm not sure druid magic can fix that kind of thing.
he's looking at you a bit shocked. Well, what do you mean pay?
I mean, like I'm eating gruel, and this might be the only meal I have this week. So a couple of copper pieces.
I don't have a lot myself. I do have a few silver, I suppose, but I
Well, your luck, because it just so happens that we know a druid.
oh
Why
good.
don't we go for a walk? I have to buy meat anyway.
At this particular moment, the barn door swings open, and in fact, your old acquaintance from yesterday, Rosalind, the halfling, comes in with very assertive steps, together with her two Asleen fellows. And she looks around for a moment, and then she sees you and comes walking over to your table. She gives this Green Walker fellow a nod, introduces herself because she's nothing if not polite, and then turns to the rest of you. Oh, I'm so sorry to see that your dwarf companion is not feeling so well. But I wanted to say that I really wanted to show my appreciation for your work yesterday. I think you really did this community, really, such as it is, a great service, and certainly myself. And for us, we who trade, we merchants, we need more safe roads. There is no doubt about that. So I think you have definitely earned your keep yesterday. And then she produces her purse and gives each of you 1 silver and 5 copper.
Oof, I'm rich.
And furthermore, if I might, take your services in my employ again, I did want to go outside the fort today and have a look at the camp. I'm curious about who might be there.
That sounds fun.
Yes, we'd be more than willing to assist.
Very good. Shall we say at noon then? Or any time you have time, of course.
Well, we needed to do a little bit of shopping, and we need to get in touch with our druid friend for Mr. Greenwalker here.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course. I have to say, I'm not terribly pleased with the taxes that the local lady of this area have levied on merchants. So I have some trouble conducting my business at the moment, if you take my meaning. I'm sure it's for the best intentions, of course, but it's an unexpected complication, to be sure. Here I'm just prattling along. I will see you here for the midday meal then, and then we will together
Sounds excellent.
go to that camp. Very good. All right. Very good. Well, I hope that your business will be very smooth today.
Thank you very much, Rosalind.
All right. So
leaves again.
Greenwalker, when we're walking to the market area, do you want to come with us and we can discuss what you would need of me? I mean, okay, I should mention, I'm the druid.
Very good. Yes. Let's talk then. Yes.
So, we'll talk and walk.
Let's go for a walk.
So, having finished up your gruel,
Gruel.
the morning's hunger, you come out into.
I totally had some of my cheese and bread. I did not eat their porridge.
So you come out into the marketplace. Well, this is really just the center of this little village, this little fort that also doubles as a village. Many residents could there be here in your estimate? A few dozen? Not more than 50, probably. And you're still, as you're coming out, there's still a lot of commotion, precisely because there's still a whole bunch of cows and sheep being herded out through the palisade doors. and you'll see that some of the, at least one of the shepherds is definitely a halfling standing there with a stick and trying to get people out. So yeah, there's a lot of commotion. There's going to be a couple of kids staring at Frida because they probably never saw Wolfkin before. But Green Walker is...
I will wave and like smile like I'm not scary at all.
They are staring and worrying.
I don't think your smile is as reassuring as you think it is.
Especially if she bears teeth.
Yeah, maybe keep your mouth closed when you smile, so don't show the teeth.
She tries that, it probably doesn't look any better.
Green Walker is also a bit unsettled by Frida, for sure. He kind of bends in towards Marita a bit. Yes, so what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to do it in there where they could listen. There's supposed to be a tome here in the area somewhere. And we have to destroy it.
A tome, like a book?
Yes. But it's tied to demons, apparently. This is why I've come.
Oh, yeah. When you say area, you mean like here in the fort or just somewhere in the vicinity?
Look, it looks around a bit. Not sure. Could be in the fort. Could be, maybe. I just arrived myself last night. You were asleep. I don't know. I can only say what I've heard about it.
Well, yeah, if there's a demon summoning book around, then we need to make sure that does not see the light of day.
That's what I feel. Yes, that's what I feel. And then it kind of looks over again to Frida.
She's not a demon.
We've proven this already, I'm not a demon.
Fair enough. Well, yeah. Some of my mentors say otherwise, but
Well, they're dumb.
Does this tomb happen to have anything to do with the priest of its serpent?
No. I'm not working with the Congregation of the Serpent at all. No. I work with, various orders, really. When I come to these lands, it's mostly the Raven Sisters when I can find one. But, no, one day I might get to Pelagia, who knows, but not yet.
So, so what do you know about this book? Anything beyond the fact that it's somewhere in this area?
Yes, and that it has an evil influence over whomever picks it up. That's what I heard. Possibly also could work as to establish a gate to demonic realms.
Well, that sounds bad.
I know.
I've been told demons taste gross.
Yeah, I hope that we can stop anything bad from happening, but I'm not sure if the locals know about it or if maybe they do, maybe they don't like the idea of losing it, if you take my meaning.
Well, yeah, if it has some sort of influence.
You're a very paranoid fellow.
Am I? Maybe. It's sort of my first trip doing something like this.
Well, we should be able to lend a hand. You know, a good demon is a good demon.
I've been trying to watch this place from afar, you see, and I worry. Maybe if there is a Raven Sister here, we can get some help, but I don't know. I haven't had the chance to explore properly.
Do you want to take the morning, see if you can find one of them while we go finish off our shopping?
I suppose I could do that, yes.
And I'm assuming that a book would give off some sort of magical aura. I don't know if Brain Eye might be able to sense it,
That's
But
my thinking too.
but I
If
imagine
we're
we'd have to be
closer.
really close, yeah.
What's it smell like?
I wouldn't know, he says. That was clearly a question he was not anticipating.
It smells like evil.
I kind of know what that smells like. Okay.
Maybe I don't usually use that particular sense to, but I suppose. And then he just looks at you again. Yes, I suppose. Well,
Yeah,
that is anyway my particular task.
Yeah, we should be able to sense it if there's something nearby, but I think we have to be pretty close to it, Marita, for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, and we'd probably draw attention if we just wandered around the town trying to sniff it out. No offense there, Frida.
Not taken.
This isn't a terribly big town. As I said, it's at most 50 people altogether, and you can see all of it basically from where you're standing. There is that wooden palisade surrounding it, and then you have that little cluster of wooden buildings. The biggest buildings here is the fort itself, the tower that rises 3 stories, so it's not the most impressive tower one could have ever seen. And then there is that barn, there's several others almost as big. This one has, the one where you slept has been, they've done some additions so that they can accommodate both traveling guests like yourselves and their whatever pack animals, riding animals, mounts that they might have, and so on. So they've made that extra extension there. And then there is some other barns here to keep cows and sheep over the night, things like that. But otherwise, the last significantly sized building here would be right in the middle of the square, basically, a small temple or shrine dedicated to the Raven, as you can see by the glyph.
How did he miss that?
That's a good question. It might be that he just came in during the night when it was dark enough. As he said, he came when you were sleeping.
Yeah, but if it's in the center of town and it's a temple, they're usually lit up in the middle of the night. That seems really sketchy.
Well, maybe, I mean, if it's to the Raven Queen, maybe they're not big, or the Raven Sisters, maybe they're not big on lights. Maybe they like it dark.
Maybe.
But I mean,
We'll take a look there for him. Or with him, rather. After we get some meat.
yeah, maybe we'll stop at the temple on our way back from doing our shopping.
Okay, let's go sell the horses.
Yeah, it's either sell them or eat them, and I'd rather sell them. I gave them names. I can't eat them.
Horse doesn't taste right.
Horse is fine. Make a
Horse
stew
is-
out of it.
Horse is a desperate thing. We can get some pig or cow by selling the horses. I'd rather do that.
I've had horse before. It's awful.
So have I. I prefer beef. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, so we'll make our way to the market.
Yeah.
See if we can't sell the horses. Actually, we may as well sell the horses and the cart, because without the horses, we don't need the cart.
Exactly.
And then we'll see if we can pick up some actual ingredients for to make real food from.
All right, let's see how well you might be able to trade with people. None of you being a peddler. We'll have one of you take lead on that. Who would be best with manipulation? That Marita? What's
We
the-
are missing our manipulator.
Yes, you are. He's sick to his stomach. Yeah, I would think that's probably Marita.
Yeah, I've got empathy of 4 and 1 level in the skills, so.
Yeah.
Definitely you then.
Yep.
Old man and giant wolf are not talkers.
Well, it's a success.
Excellent.
I'm going to say that this trading will take the better part of the quarter day, because you want to find the right place to talk, right person to talk to. You want to find, are we allowed to, and so on and so forth. Nobody's going to mess with you too much. Apparently, the guards are busy controlling the traffic flow really right now, but
And afraid of the large wolf.
I'm afraid that's a large wolf. And you also captured those slavers the other day, so they're quite pleased with that. So you will be able to find some locals outside this little fort, and I'm sure that you will see that at some point during this quarter day. There are pastures. There's some field for growing whatever type of grain that they might be interested in growing. They're just starting tilling the fields really because it's spring. That's the time of year. Nothing has started really growing yet. So they do have some farmed lands and some lands for their cattle here just outside, which means also that to add to that, there's some smaller sort of hills, burrows that back up on the palisade just outside of it, which are the halfling dwellings. Very nicely tended gardens. Very nicely. They've made sure to keep the paint on their rounded doors pristine and in perfect order, and cleansed up that doorknob so it shines in whatever little sun that you might come out today. You never see more than a couple of halflings at the time, though. It's definitely a human settlement in terms of, just dominant demographic population. And but yes, you do find a farmer who will be interested in the extra help that these horses can in fact provide. And since they are work horses, I'm going to say that you can trade both of them in for 2 gold pieces.
Oof.
Is a lot of money for the farmer, but it's going to save that farmer a lot of work tilling the fields and hauling various goods.
Does he want to buy a cart as well?
You might just do that, yeah. And the cart would be... Let's see now. I think I looked this up before. If I recall correctly, it's another couple of gold pieces, actually. Oh, there we go. Wagon. Yes, indeed. In fact, 3 gold pieces. So that would net you 5 altogether.
Wow.
Yes.
Excellent.
I'm going to say that it's not just a single farmer buying this. This is going to come off of several. Possibly backed up by the fort guard. Because, of course, the fort... the liege lady, Lady Nirinda, you've heard her name mentioned several times, will have a bigger cash box than most of the farmers. But yes, between the three of them, different farmers and the liege lady in question, you should be able to hand them over that. There is a cage in that cart as well that I'm sure they will take off your hands too, because they have a dungeon,
Excellent.
which is completely fully stocked at the moment.
I'm tempted to give up being a druid and just roam the roads looking for bandits and take their horses.
I can help you with that.
It's like way more money than I've ever seen before, like ever in my life.
Yeah, it's good money for sure.
All right. So while we're doing the shopping around, and now that we have some actual money to spend,
Yeah.
I need to get some herbs and some sort of solvent to practice the talent that I'm trying to learn.
Yes, indeed.
I would like to pick up some meat and actual proper food ingredients and make us some more proper rations.
Yeah.
What about you, Bernard? Do you need anything, like a staff or I don't know?
Currently rocking my staff. I may need to check what the price of. I don't know if we can acquire it here. A divining rod.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to find here, probably.
Oh, right. Because that would help us to source out the location of the book.
Yep.
Oh, can we also ask the local farmers if there's any runes in the area?
Yeah, any what?
Any runes?
Ruins. Oh, the farmer will. Ruins? Ruins? Oh, not really ruins, no. But, oh, are you maybe some kind of adventurers then, are you? Just looks at the sword.
Just travelers. We like to roam the roads and look around.
Oh, we have adventures coming through here every once in a while, since the blood mist lifted. Good for business, that is. They are either chasing after the armor of the gods. I've heard it rumored that it's to be found some mile northeast of here. But not here, that's for sure. And then, of course, we have goblins to the north and saurians to the south. Blessing to have the Lady Narinda here to keep this place open, keep it safe for travelers, I'll tell you that.
There's no caves or anything like that around?
Oh, well, I'm sure the goblins live in caves somewhere in the forest, but I will not be the one to try and scout them out, let me tell you that.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
So after we get a fair distance away, I will make sure there's no one around us, not too close. Kind of co-conspiratively whisper to Brennar and Marita, do we think maybe this lady liege might have your creepy book? Everybody seems weirdly devoted to her.
Maybe she's just a good leader.
But they also... Right. And won't let the dwarves pass through? They couldn't get to the other town, remember?
Oh, maybe.
I think that's just a trade issue.
Yeah, maybe the dwarves didn't want to pay the high taxes.
But why are the taxes so high? They've never been like that before. It's never been an issue before.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't even know how taxes work.
New management.
But that's my point. What is the change, and does it have anything to do with your creepy evil book?
Could we find out who ran this before she did?
Maybe. I mean, if we get close enough to her, we might be able to sense that the book is there. But I mean, if she has other magic, we might just pick that up.
Yep.
Mm.
Well, let's go find your herbs.
Yeah, and well, I mean, while we're here, now that we have some money to spend, I mean, it is a fort. We might be able to pick up maybe some armor or something for Frida.
I doubt you'll get anything in my size.
You might be
maybe-
able to. They, judging the guards around here, tend to have leather armor at best. They have leather armor, spears, shields, axes. So far,
A
you've
shield
only
would
seen-
be better than armor for me right now.
But you have a shield.
No, I don't. I have a very big sword.
Oh,
That
I
piece
use
of
my
fur-
sword like a shield.
That piece of fur looks like a shield, but she's just got really hairy arms.
That's a blanket, thank you.
okay. So yeah, we'll go pick up the herbs I need, and
Yep.
we'll find a
I have
Find
to
a
go do
shield.
a thing with OOC, small humans.
Yep. So Marita will go and try to find some herbs then, and possibly the natural place to do that would in fact be the temple to Raven.
Aha.
Raven sisters are very often druids as well.
Oh, good to know. All right. So I'm looking for things that can be used medicinally, but can also be used to impair somebody or to weaken somebody, things of that nature.
Well, you will first of all be received by, in fact, the Raven sister who is there. She is a middle-aged woman, still athletic enough, I suppose. Weather-worn face, lots of gray hairs by now. Her tall frame would suggest at least Alander origins. She's standing there basically tending her temple. You've been dealing, it's going to be creeping closer to noon now, but it's not quite there yet. You can see that the holy bucket dedicated to flow, is standing where it should be, by the entrance to the temple. And she's been talking to one of the people in the fort, and giving them some herbs, and off they go. And as you come up there, she will look towards you and hello, can I help you?
Yes. I'm in the market for some herbs, some things that I can use to heal my companions, and then I will actually give her a list. I just don't know the names of the herbs in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
But I will give her a list of the ones I'm looking for. Some of them are in fact healing herbs, but some of the other ones would be the equivalent of nightshade and belladonna and things of that nature.
That's an interesting list. She will look over the ingredients. I have some of these, not all of these, she says. She introduces herself as Misalda, by the way.
Oh, I'm Marita. These are my friends Brainer and Freda.
Very pleased to meet you.
Oh, and that guy's Greenwalker. He's just hanging around. He's not really
She
our
has
friend
a-
yet.
No, yes, I spoke to him earlier today. He's in fact, because when you were doing your selling your
Oh, right.
ride
Okay, gotcha.
the horse
Yep.
and the cart, he went and talked to her.
Okay.
So, but he will be around, and when you come there, he will definitely join the group. Indeed. So yes, herbs. We said. Well, let's see now.
Raynar will actually separate from the group and go over to the representation for Flo.
Very good.
Pay his respects. He'll actually put a copper down in front of it.
And you can definitely use some of that water to wash your forehead, for cleansing after that rough day you had yesterday. Seems like a good idea. So let's see now. You want to buy those herbs? This list of trade goods that I have in front of me does not include, as far as I can see, herbs at this point. So I'm just going to improvise a price and say that it's going to be 1/10 of the actual potion in question.
Okay.
So that's going to put it to a few coppers each, because you have to still make the potion in question from that. So the entire list, how many different things are you wanting to use this for?
Well, how many would it take me to practice to learn the talent? And then I'll get enough to learn the talent, and then I will get enough to make like 3 or 4 doses.
Okay.
So I don't know, like 10, 20.
Yeah, how about a silver coin? That'll work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That seems reasonable. She's a bit reluctant to sell you things like belladonna and such things. There is a bit of she has a bit of a steely gaze to her, this one.
It's okay. You can use these as an anesthetic. You just have to make sure the dosage is right.
Of course. Is that a manipulation insight thing?
Oh no!
Take your word for it.
I mean, she can make the roll if she likes.
I guess I will make the roll, and you can roll manipulation if you like.
I got 1.
You got 1 as well, which cancels out yours, which means that you're gonna seem a bit, there's more going on than just making anesthetics to her.
Oh, totally. I'm lying through my teeth.
So, but she will. Now she has a bit of a conundrum here. You can tell from the building that it needs touching up. You know, it's not been painted for a while. There's probably her roof after the winter is probably gonna need looking after seriously. She's not terribly willing to sell you these herbs, though.
I will offer her 2 silver, and I'll kind of look at the roof.
She will give in to that. She will give in to that.
Okay. And then, not like a real whisper. I'll be like, Brainerd, maybe you should ask her about the evil book, because I don't think she's going to tell me anything.
So yeah, that's probably about time Brainerd comes back from worshipping Flo. Yeah, he'll... Iselda, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Iselda, we were talking earlier to Greenwalker, and you mentioned something about sacred tomb possibly was in the region.
Tomb. Oh no, you talked about the tome. Yes. I'm afraid that's a wandering legend, she said. There's no such thing around here. Roll insight.
Yeah, I'm gonna push that. So that's my pushed.
He has 3 successes. You have 4. Wow. Wow. Okay. She is a stone cold liar. She has said this lie so many times that it's just like a reflex for her. It's only because she is sort of glancing towards both you and Green Walker, and there's just that half a beat in her intonation when she's talking about it. She's just a little bit too casual, but it's not something that anyone else would likely notice. You have to have Hawkeyes for this. You have to be an expert in modern days, like you had to be an expert, criminal profiler or criminal psychologist to even notice that slight beat, which is definitely just passing Marita and Frida completely by. But it's there.
That's unfortunate.
Can I smell any nervousness or anything like that on her?
No. Well, you can roll an insight roll, and if you beat her 3 successes,
Probably not.
probably not.
But I'll try. You never know.
You're most welcome to try.
In the meantime, I'm probably too busy going like, okay, Frida, these ones you can cook with. These ones you cannot.
Probably.
Oh, I wonder if this is what Fadan ate last night.
We want to stay away from that one.
Nope.
No.
You can smell. She has a series of different smells on her. Incense. There is other variants of smoke, just wood smoke and things like that. She's obviously cooked something fairly recently. And there's that slight smell of raven feathers. She has some adorned on her dark gray robe.
She's probably giving me a headache then.
Maybe, yeah. There's a whole bunch of different smells. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to go.
Yes, no, I'm terribly sorry to disappoint you. That's all I can say about that. It's a wandering myth, and it's one of the and now her eyes flashes a bit, with anger. We've had adventurers, and she's the disgust in her mouth when she says that, who've tried to disturb the peace here looking for that myth. I can only say that they will get their due rewards. You don't defile a temple of the Raven. That's all I have to say about that. They are in the cages in the tower where they belong.
Well, that's probably a good place for them.
An absolute sacrilege of trying to defile a temple.
Have you gotten a lot of adventurers trying to defile your temple? Because I heard the dungeons were pretty full.
Just the one group, really. We don't have a very big dungeon as such. It's not much of a dungeon as much as a basement under the tower.
Yeah. It's about what I would expect in this town.
Quite.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Always glad to see a sister in the trade and the arts. You haven't joined the Raven Sisters, though. I can tell. She's looking at you because you're not wearing any of those signs, raven feathers or the raven glyph or anything like that. She would see that. So.
No, I'm still considering.
On your path.
My instructor was of an independent nature, and I think some of that rubbed off on me.
For sure.
Rainer's trying to hold back a cough.
The order does need every talented young lady that we can find. I hear that the Rust brothers are getting active again, and then we will be called on to defend these lands.
Well, if that happens, you can call on me whether I'm a member or not.
It's very good
Frida
to...
lets out a little growl when you mention the Rust Brothers.
She will, in fact, kind of smile appreciatively at the growl, because, yeah, that's basic. You voiced what her thoughts about the Rust brothers was, so...
Alright. Well, we should be going. We have to meet somebody for lunch.
Yes.
For sure, don't let me keep you. Raven's blessings upon you.
Thank you.
And so you walk back towards the barn again.
Is Greenwalker following us, or is he
Yep,
back at the temple?
No, he's going with you, and now he has his sort of duster and that wide brimmed hat, which kind of covers up the tip of his ears a little bit, and but he's walking with a bit of a slouch in his walk, and he looks definitely despondent. She said it's not here. I've made this trip all in vain.
I wouldn't assume that too soon. There's
People lie. Even religious people lie.
She's a Raven sister. She wouldn't.
People lie.
There's more than ancient tombs and such in the city that still probably would be of interest to you. Why don't you stay with us for the rest of the day and see what interesting shenanigans you can get up with us?
I can do that. I can do that.
I mean, she may have been, maybe she was lying about where the tome is, but maybe she wasn't lying about the adventurers in the dungeon.
That I
I've
think
heard other
Rita,
people
you're probably
think
right.
about that too, yes. Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
Good.
Yeah, no, Green Walker is basically agreeing that there seems to be people in the dungeons.
She's not the first person who's mentioned that the dungeons are full.
This is true.
So something's definitely gone down, but the question is why and what? And are the people in the dungeon rightfully in the dungeon?
This is a good question.
Well, yeah, otherwise they wouldn't be in the dungeon.
You and I both know that the law is necessarily not always the most lawful.
The only people that end up in dungeons are bad people and stupid people.
We were almost put in cages on the way here. So
Almost.
We met in cages.
Because we were stupid. We went into the swamps.
Outside the barn, there's someone sitting. Maybe it's the local vagrant. Who knows? Robe, hand outstretched, arms, with a very deep hood covering up the face. That hand is like almost chalk white color.
I'll drop a copper.
Thank you.
I take a sniff, like subtly though.
When you're doing that, you will notice that under the hood are those tusks.
I'll drop a copper as well.
Thank you.
I will too, and when I do, I ask, "What's your name, friend?"
Ohro. Still kind of keeping the hoodie down low over the face.
Where are you from?
Oh, south of here.
Hmm?
Oh, come on, we got people to meet.
All right. I'll continue on with the rest of the party for now.
Frida, do you have any food?
Oh, yes, you're right. I do. I will give him a loaf of bread and a piece of cheese.
Yeah, so basically you're scratching one of those meals. Yep, sounds good. I think that maybe Fidan can get something down as well, so then you will be down to, well, tomorrow you can. Though inside you will in fact find Rosalind again. She's having a meal that she must have paid for here. It's some beef jerky, more porridge, and yeah, they don't.
Oh, honey,
They
next
still
time
have
let
a
me
whole lot
cook
of
for you.
fresh bread.
Let me cook for you next time.
She's eating a couple of carrots as well through the meal.
Carrots.
It's the Spartan meal.
I'm going to ask the barkeep what the best meal they offer is.
The best meal they offer. Well, that would be, in fact, we serve you up with some nice venison. Yes, the old lady is not there at the moment. This is a sturdier fellow, perhaps her son. Big sort of mustache that goes down. Starting to get bald on the top of the head. We can offer you up some venison if you care. We have some hunters around. They go close to the forest when it's not nighttime.
Venison sounds ideal.
Very good. I can cook you up a nice hearty meal of venison for $1 silver each.
I will gladly pay that.
Can I give you a couple extra copper to cook it myself?
He has not seen Wolfkin very often. Wolfkin chefs, even less. Not sure I would keep a certain order in there, you see.
She doesn't shed.
Much.
Well, I suppose it can't do any harm.
Okay. So she'll go back and just start. She knows her way around.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can cook up a storm, absolutely.
Yeah.
In there. And after a while, I mean, this fella, he's looking at you and, oh, she knows her way around, that's for sure.
So I will cook
No
up the
problem.
venison for the party.
I didn't know your kind was so good with a cauldron.
I'm just full of surprises.
Well, don't get lots of Wolfkin around here, so learn something new every day, eh?
So maybe they all cook. Maybe just the ones that you've seen don't.
I've seen one of her kind, must be a couple of years ago now. Big feller. Had a fairly large axe. As far as I understand, not bad at wielding it either. Didn't show that around here, you understand. It was a mercenary working for one of the merchants.
Frida slams a knife down on the counter.
I'm sorry.
And continues chopping.
I'll just leave you to it then. Not gonna argue with the 8-foot Wolfkin.
So, Rosalind, you had work opportunity, maybe?
Possibly indeed, yes. I would very much like to see who is in the camp over there. I'm hoping that. Well, you have to learn to talk to people, everyone around. Everyone might be able to give their piece of the puzzle to the area and give you a greater understanding. That's really what this is all about.
Learning your market.
Indeed.
Well, I think we could probably help you with that.
Very good. Very good.
Definitely.
She will make sure that her clothes are just so. Drag it comb a little bit through the hair again, straighten it out properly again.
I assume at this point Frida can bring out the venison.
Yep.
Probably about that point when she's all busy getting ready, Marita would realize that she's got like caked on blood from the slavers like under her fingernails and stuff. Because we rolled into town and then we went to bed and then we got up and had breakfast and went shopping.
I imagine we washed ourselves at some point.
You civilized
buckets
folks,
of
maybe.
water, yeah. But some cleansing from the holy bucket would not be completely amiss, given that type of work.
So yeah, so before having lunch, I'll get washed up. Probably notice that there's some bloodstains on the clothing and stuff, and just kind of shrug and go like, well. If I get enough of them, it'll just be a new color.
There's a lot of reasons why you can get bloodstains on your cloth around here, including, working in the butcher's shop or just having a bad accident while you're working with your tools, and so on and so forth. So,
In my line of work, it's an occupational hazard.
yes, this is true. Nobody seems to be batting too much of an eye at it at this point. Maybe people are just assuming that you cut yourself or something bad happened when you work with some tools. And if you're a healer, then it's even more natural.
That's right.
They also might have heard the story of us bringing in the slavers, because I'm sure that would be news in town.
Yes, it's a small place, and that might indeed be the case.
And I would have probably, just being associated, made it a little bit more sensational.
It did, yes, it was so. And in fact, you might have heard some people, when you were trading with the farmers, they might have mentioned, oh, you were the ones who came in with the slavers.
All right. So we'll have lunch. What time did you want to leave to go check out the camp?
She would want to leave right away after lunch, for sure.
I think we can do that.
Yep.
No reason to waste time, as it were, he says.
Green Walker sitting with us?
Yep, he is.
Yep.
He's deep in thought about this whole notion that would a Raven sister lie? You might still have to convince him on that one. But he doesn't seem terribly interested. Well, I guess he could tag along just for the sake of it, because he has really nothing else to do right now. Though Rosalind is going to be a bit weirded out if he gets up at the same time. Is he your companion at this point?
He's an associate.
Fair enough.
He's looking for some treasure in the region. Hopefully we can achieve that for him.
Oh, now that made her perk up her ears. I see. Well, that is interesting. I could always be interested in perhaps invest a bit in that type of venture, provided that we draw up a contract clearly stipulating the profits from any happy outcomes of such a venture. At this point, of course, Green Walker is just kind of looking at her. No, not that kind of treasure at all. There won't be any coin from it. He's stumped like he was before when you talked about it. And Rosalind will... Well,
Green Walker, this might be a bit of a rude question, but how old are you?
That's just a bit of a rude question.
Especially for a half-elf.
Exactly.
Sorry. You just seem a bit naive for your kind. Keep in mind that most people I've met from your kind is Brenner, so,
Well, judging by his face, you'd peg him at around the same age as Marita, and indeed he says, 17?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my.
You have much to learn of the world.
You are young, aren't you? Poor dear.
Well, yes, but yes.
That's okay. I'm sure he'll manage.
I'm very good at keeping people alive.
I do not doubt that at all.
Yes, he's a companion in the short term with us.
All right. Well, we should head out after lunch, and that way we can get to the camp before dark. I don't know how far the camp is, so.
It's not terribly far at all, in fact. It's within 100 or so yards of the wall of the palace.
okay.
So it's a short distance away. It's just far enough away for you to not be able to see clearly who is in it. Between the fields and the traffic outside and so on. So it's a bit out of the way, but it's definitely within sight and an easy walk to get there. And as you get closer to that camp, have it. Okay. I don't think I uploaded it yet, because I'm foolish enough to not do that. Which is sad, because we have a map of it. I'll have to see if I can find it. Shouldn't take too long. My apologies. Scroll back a little bit. Oh, not there. There.
I just got to grab something to
actually-
drink. I'll just be
Yeah,
like 2
do that.
minutes.
There we go. Found it. There. I can put it up on as a map. There we go. Uploading. It's quite convenient that way, Roll20. Doesn't take too much time to address things like that.
Yep.
All right. All these maps were made in Incarnate. We have the professional account invested in it. So that's what it looks like, basically. So it's very hastily put up and quite Spartan, but it's also very comfortable. So there's this little fencing for really 3 mules, ponies, really, campfire, some tents in a very neat order, a neat row. You can feel the smell. They must have just finished up their own lunch, because you can still feel the smell of the stew lingering over the camp. And this is, in fact, a camp of dwarves. There is a couple of them who are armored up properly in mail, and they have axes in their belts, shields not too far away. They're not worried about you, so they're not armored up or guarding it from intrusion from any of you. They will look towards you as you come close. And then there's 3 dwarves who are definitely not warriors. They are various ages. One is possibly middle-aged or so, judging by face and hair, slightly graying at the temples and a little bit of graying in the beard as well. One is definitely older than that, starting to get wrinkly and slightly silvery beard, but very ornately braided beard. Quite beautifully done, in fact. And then there's a young one who is has a shock of red beard, really, and seems spry and eager, walks around to these 2 much grumpier fellows who are sitting there and basically drinking a cup of herbal tea of some kind, maybe. While their pipes smell very much of lavender. Yeah. And one of the guards there just looks up and she's looking at you. What do you want? Yeah, did any of you want to speak, or Rosalind will just introduce herself and say that she's simply come to make everybody's acquaintance? She introduces herself as a merchant who is always interested in hearing news from faraway lands. And, well, seeing as none of you, I mean, you seem pretty peaceful. The only one who's carrying an obvious big weapon in this group is Frida. So they
I am an obvious big weapon.
Yes, indeed. So they will let you through to the three gentle dwarfs who are sitting there. They'll get up. You'll notice that the sort of middle-aged one, so if they have young, middle, old, the middle-aged one will be really grumpy. This one is dressed in very nice clothes that are not as pristine as this one would want, and he keeps correcting his clothes all the time and being frustrated and flustered about the conditions apparently in the campsite, looking around and so on. Whereas the old one is simply sort of looking grumpy and muttering a little bit over his pup. The young one is really the one who seems most forward. Bows deeply. My name is Bodgar. I'm sometimes known as Bodgar the Brazen. I bring you all the best deals from the mountains beyond, if you will. Or would, if the port would allow us to trade at a reasonable rate. The middle-aged one, they're leeches, the lot of them, and this can't, it's an outrage, I say. Looks very grumpy.
What's an outrage?
The conditions, of course, he says. Look at us out in the wilds, and just last night, the goblins. We have no protection. Nothing. It is an outrage.
You're not allowed into the fort, or?
Not until we pay the fees. Bodgar will... May I introduce my traveling companions? This is the Tribble-Twine brothers. This is Merble and Thulman. Merble being the old one, and Thulman being the younger one. They are of the Merrimanian clan, and I am of the Belderanian clan.
Very nice to make your acquaintance.
Are you guys the dwarves that they were expecting in Peddler's Rest down the way?
That is where we're heading, yes, says Bodgar.
Okay.
I told you something was up.
What? Oh,
So-
says Rosalind, you have the same problems as I do then. I quite agree with you that they are charging not quite literally an arm and a leg, but nearly so. I will take a loss in my journey if I have to go through this, she says. Thulman warms up to her, that's the middle-aged one, warms up to her quite quickly. As she does have this very well-mannered behavior. And it really seems like they are kin in that sense. He is also moving, his body language as that of someone who is used to the finer things in life, and used to the finer things in life and not having to sit in a campsite like this.
Is there any indication as to why they might be charging so much?
If I knew, they simply say that they require it to repair the palisade and keep, well, updating their weapons, they said. Saurians and goblins are about, And well, we can attest to that, says Bogdark. The goblins harassed us only just last night. That's why our guards have to rest now. They grabbed one of our chests and made off with it. We tried our best to stop them, of course, but quick they are and hard to catch, especially at night.
I see. What was in this chest that they made off with?
Some of our trade goods. We're selling ore, says Bodgar.
Hmm.
Well, not ore, it's really the ingots. We've refined it, of course.
So you would think that they'd want to let you in if they need to upgrade their weapons. They would need the ore.
But they plan to impound a lot of it as taxes to keep this area safe. They say that they are keeping us safe from the Saurians and the goblins.
So they want to take it and not pay for it.
Yes. Not all of it, of course, but they want to take a lot of it. More than we would like to part with, because we have to finance our trip. And I'm sure other people in other parts would pay good coin for these ingots as well. But how are we supposed to sell them if they simply take them? You'll hear the old one, which is Merble. He's muttering something about humans that shouldn't even be here.
Yeah, but we are here. So there's that.
The old one is, I remember my grandfather fought at Whaler's Hold.
Listen, a lot of people remember a lot of things, but we're in the position we're in, and we happen to be in a position to possibly at least help you get your ore back, so...
Well, that will shut him up.
And I'm sure Fidan would like us to help out the dwarves.
This was my thought process.
It's Bogdar.
Yes,
one of our kin?
Yes, one of your kin is actually currently ill with food sickness. However, he was wanting to come and perform introductions here at the encampment once he heard that there was dwarves.
I see. Yes. We'd be most happy to have a kinsman, for sure.
I'm sure he'd be happy to meet some as well.
Bogdar will, in fact, take Marita a little bit to the side. You must excuse Merble a bit. The Meromanians. Well, this is what I've heard from them. I don't know myself. I'm too young, but they say that before the Blood Mist, when the Alderlanders came to these areas, they destroyed a lot of the Meromanian holds, and they lost their lands to them. So they're not too. They haven't forgotten that.
Oh, don't worry. If you're expecting me to stand up for humans, you picked the wrong person. I think most humans generally suck.
That's why you're in a party that includes none of them.
Not a one.
He's looking at, well, you judging by you wouldn't happen to be Asleen, would you?
Not by choice.
I'm just guessing. Well, I'm saying that because the way I understand it, it was the Alderlanders that brought this fortune on the Whalers' Hold and the Meromanians, not Asleen's, if you will.
Oh, we've committed plenty of our own atrocities. Don't worry.
You're one to talk.
Say so. If you say so, I'm learning the trade myself, and perhaps one day I'll be a merchant and a diplomat like Marble. But Not
perhaps.
just
But
an apprentice at this point. Mhm.
Frida was right, though. I mean, we are in a position that we could go looking for the goblins.
Yes.
I don't know how dangerous goblins actually are. I've never actually seen one or met
I
one.
heard they taste good.
Ugh.
Everything tastes good to you.
Bogdar is just kind of. I would think not. No, the goblins. Well, we don't have a strong enough expedition to go hunting for them, as it were, and they can be awfully sneaky. I think we heard some of them during the fight, but they got away, and when our guards were busy fighting some of them off, they must have made off with that chest because it wasn't there when we looked in the morning.
So you said they're in the northern part of the region here?
Yes, I did some asking around this morning as much as I could without having to deal with the guards to the fort. But it seems the farmers tell me that they hide in the forest up north. They probably have a hideout there of some kind. Between me and you, I think those goblins are probably a bit of a plague for the local farmers too. What I'm guessing is that their cattle, they take them inside because of the goblins, wouldn't you think?
Yep, they gotta eat like everything else.
Exactly.
Well, I think if we can deal with these goblins, we can help out these dwarves here. We can maybe get some good word in with the village, and then maybe talk to them about this tax situation.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Sounds good to me, says Bogdar. Maybe I can send you at least one of our warriors to go with you. Regards. They're good to have in a pinch, our folks.
Yeah, that would come in handy for sure. That way Frida doesn't have to do all of the heavy lifting.
True.
And I'll do my best to keep them alive. I'm a bit of a healer.
That would be very appreciated.
Do you happen to have a shield in your goods?
Oh, for sale, you mean?
Yes, I'm willing to pay for it.
Bogdar sees a business opportunity. Well, that could possibly be arranged. We have not really brought weapons as such, or protective things like that, but I'm sure we can arrange something. And Bogdar looks over the other dwarves. We can trade you one for not too high a price.
I would be very appreciative. And she tries to smile in a non-threatening way.
Well, a bit of a discount, seeing as you're helping out with this thing. Now, these are dwarves, so it's not necessarily going to be a large shield for you. But they will part with one of their shields for the simple price of only 3 silver pieces, which is in fact half the usual price for a small shield.
Okay.
Very good. Add small shield to Frida's inventory. It basically gives you a bonus of 1 for parrying. But since in this game you get different bonus.
Sorry.
No problem. Depending on what tool you're actually parrying with, depending on what type of attack is coming in, that shield might very well come in handy if someone is trying to stab you. That makes it much easier to parry with a shield than a sword in that case.
So now, when I do my parries, do I have to announce what I'm parrying with, or is it just assumed that I'm using the correct?
Well, I'm going to say
where I have both.
Yeah, you have both, so you will go with the best one, obviously.
Okay.
But you have to include that particular, because it's only the one gear die for that, and we need to be able to keep track. If it breaks during a fight, we need to know that it was the shield that was broken or the sword. So, because the geared guys can still turn up, a 1. That's bad news. So that's a reason why we want to keep track of which tool you're using.
That makes sense.
How far to the north is the Goblin Forest?
That would not be far at all. Back to our Forbidden Lands map. It's literally the next X in traveling, so it would involve a quarter day of travel and explore, because you have to explore that area, of course, to find wherever they might be hiding.
We should probably rest at the camp and go in the morning.
Well, it's like late afternoon now.
Yeah.
The evening as we got to the forest. We don't really want to be traipsing in the forest in the dark.
No.
Yeah, they say that goblins are very good at moving around at dark. And for those of you who keep track of the different kin that you can play in this game, it is in fact possible to play goblins in Forbidden Lands as well as orcs. And the bonus for being a goblin is you get to spend willpower for extra successes for sneaking, and you do not get any negative modifiers for being out in the dark, unlike everyone else, which means that you will suffer 2 dice of negative modifier to your skills if you're in the dark. They do not. So they will definitely have an upper hand. And I mean, the rumors would reinforce this when you talk to any type of raiding that's been done by goblins has always been at night.
Okay. So setting it in the morning sounds like the best plan.
Yep.
Well, I suppose their guards would do watches. Doing a watch overnight, because the goblins have already raided this camp once.
Yeah, though they would not be terribly averse to getting more support with keeping watch at night here. That's for sure. They're on edge as it is, and I mean you can see that the fighters here, the guards, are definitely taking it as easy as they possibly can during the day. They're not having sentries posted or anything like that. They get up when someone comes nearby just in case, but for the most part they're definitely taking it easy. But there's only 3 of them really. It's a small camp. But you will notice that also they are well armed. They have mail, dwarven made such, shields, axes, helmets, heavy steel helmets. They're definitely able to take a punch should that happen. So you can see how goblins might have trouble getting through their armor, but you can also see how goblins might have less trouble getting away from these dwarves.
Yep. Is there sufficient? Are we proposing basically camping here, or are we looking at going back into the city and staying there for that evening?
I would suggest camping here.
I think the dwarves would like to have some backup in case something happens.
Okay. Well, I have a small tent. If they don't have room and board.
I have a winter blanket.
And while I'm here too, any of the dwarves that were injured in the goblin raid, I can take a look at.
No, they were not, in fact.
Okay.
They're all good.
That being the case, since we have some time before bed, if the dwarves don't mind, I would like to borrow a cauldron and a little bit of fire and start practicing on some of these concoctions.
Yes. Yeah, you can do a quarter day of that for sure. Green Walker is kind of, and so is Rosalind. I mean, Rosalind definitely approves of the expedition. She also wants to see, she agrees with the whole notion of if we can use that as leverage to get the taxes lowered somehow, that would be great. And she will be happy to take part in any such negotiations with the local lady. So she's fully supportive of the idea. She's not terribly keen on going on an expedition into the forest to confront goblins as such.
It might actually be best if she stays here with the dwarves, because the less people I have to guard, the less people are going to get killed.
This is true.
She seems to be getting along fine with the Toolman.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely no problem getting along with the dwarfs. They seem very much united in purpose. You will notice now that you're sort of staying a little bit longer in the camp that so Thulman is, I'm going to say, use a Western analogy. He seems to be a bit of a tenderfoot. To bring in words from that genre. He is constantly whining about the lack of proper service, about there's always something wrong. It's too cold, the fire is too hot, the food isn't properly tended to in terms of the spices.
Frida progressively gets more frustrated the more she has to listen to him.
And
like, you can see her getting almost angry as she paces around.
And when he's not, whining about it, he's sighing heavily, and it's pointedly directed towards the lack of servants that are clearly not, serving him at this point.
I'll go like, here, Frida, chew on this leaf. It'll help you to calm down.
She will, and she will just angrily, gnaw on it. She actually starts practicing with her shield, because I want to up my shield talent. So she'll start doing that to keep herself distracted, and start practicing with some of the guards, so she doesn't have to listen to him over the clank of swords.
This is true. Or axes in this case, which is what they're wielding. There are two dwarf ladies and a fellow, I guess, judging by the long beard, though when it comes to facial hair, anything goes among the dwarfs, maybe. The dwarf ladies are not necessarily bearded as such, but but they are there and absolutely happy to spar with a wolfkin. They have not done so before, so that's a new experience for them. We'll take turns, make comments on your thrusts and but I think it's gonna be appreciated how you're handling yourself. You're absolutely no slouch when it comes to fighting with a sword.
So will that let me buy up to my next shield talent, provided I have the XP?
Typically you'd have to do the training after you get enough XP.
I think I have enough XP. No? I don't know what the XP is. Okay.
It's times 3. The new level times 3. So to get the new level, you have to get.
I think I need one more, 2 more.
You got how many?
I need 2 more.
Okay.
All right. For learning a new talent, it's 3 XP, right?
Yes.
All right. So I was going to spend the quarter day brewing and trying things out, not on myself, but making sure that I get the mixtures and the balances and stuff right.
Yeah.
For the poisoner talent.
Also, by the way, Frida, you don't actually have to spend time practicing for a talent that you already have.
I know. I just like to do the arc and stuff to go with stuff.
Yeah, no. That's great. I love that. That's great. I'm just saying that in the as written. But for Marita, yes. So you would have to do a successful wits roll to be able to do that as well. Do you have? You do not have a teacher. That's why the wits roll is needed.
Gotcha.
And that succeeds. You
Yay!
are a smart young lady, for sure, and can figure out through trial and error on your own. You're obviously going to consume the herbs while you're doing this.
I'll be like, oh,
Is-
my left arm is tingly. Okay, note that down.
Exactly. But it's also about I'm thinking you probably have some kind of rudimentary reagents that will you can put some lemon peel inside the brew to see if it gets that coloration that it's supposed to get when the active ingredient is working as it should.
Oh, excellent.
Thank
It's
you.
just turned a bright fuchsia color. That one's a keeper.
Exactly.
Now, the book doesn't specify, but poisons, are they like ingested or gases or blade poisons or...
That's a good question. Let's see now. Poisoneer says
Poisoneer says I can make them.
you can make them. Okay. Yeah, because in the gear section, let's see now. There's
I think there's 4 types.
yeah, there are. So in the gear section, you'll find that it speaks about the different types. You can buy potions that count as poison
Yeah.
in various capacities, and they're hallucinogenic, they're paralytic. What was the other one? Lethal, paralyzing, sleeping, and hallucinogenic. That's the 4 kinds. So how they are, I'm thinking they're basically you drink them.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you can sprinkle it in the food as well, and if they eat it that way.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I thought too.
Powders that you could make people breathe in. That could be another vector. They haven't detailed it here terribly. Right.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the points of how the system works. We can create the narrative device for how that poison would work as a vector ourselves, and then what counts for us is the potency.
I was gonna say
Gotcha.
a lot of them would probably be topical as well.
Yeah.
Especially to be particularly useful.
So yeah, so after I'm happy with my concoctions and stuff, then it's probably pretty close to bedtime.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. What kind of but I'm gonna say that you've now learned how to make them, but you haven't made the ones that you will be able to use yet.
Yeah, because looking at this, it's like a quarter day to make one, so I don't have the time to make them yet.
Exactly. But now you can if you have the right ingredients.
That's what I went shopping for.
Fire and poisoner and herbs.
Yep.
All right. So yes, I guess Frida will take watch on one of the watches of the night.
I will probably take the first one so that I can get some sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Go back to where we are. So yes, a nice night. What can possibly go wrong? It gets cold again, because of course it's still spring, so temperatures will hover around 0-ish for this night. And
I will wrap up in my blanket as I do my walks, my perimeter checks.
yeah.
To stay warm. Not that I would be overly cold, I don't think, as a wolf, but still.
Yeah, no, you how about you roll for scouting, because that's how you detect them before they detect you, in case there is any. That didn't go too well.
I'll push that.
Okay. No, still nothing.
Okay. I can't do anything more, obviously.
No, you can't. I'm gonna see if any of because so you're sitting there and you're not
Oh,
noticing
his
much of
stealth
anything.
kind of sucks too. Oh no, that's good. Never mind.
It's a success though. There's a success, and also I do get to activate their kin talent, which involves stealth, to add extra to that. So I could count another one, should I need it, but I don't.
No.
I think what's going to happen this night is basically you're sitting there and trying to keep watch and look around every once in a while. When it's getting late towards the end of your shift, when you hear giggling and in sort of the northern direction, if you will, and you can see, and I think not even the dwarf guards would have noticed this. You can see dark shapes coming out from one of the tent with sacks across their backs, and they're trying to leg it northwards.
Once I'm aware of them, I'm gonna purposely get a scent on them.
Yeah.
So that I can activate my kin talent.
You can do that indeed.
And I'll be able to track them for like the next 10 days, I think.
Yes, indeed. You will notice one thing as you're kind of moving close to them and in that direction. I'm not sure if it's the trick of the light from the lanterns, because obviously one of the dwarfs is coming there too. What's happening? But you think as you can see them disappearing into the tall grass ahead of you, with a cackling laugh as they move away, you could swear that not only are they naked, they're also bluish, like body paint bluish. But you're absolutely positive that you saw the naked butt of a blue goblin.
I will definitely grab a scent. I will make a howl to kind of wake the camp, and I will make chase as far as I can. Obviously, I'm much larger than the dwarves, so I'm hoping I can maybe kind of leg it to catch at least one of them.
Oh, that's a move roll indeed. Have a chase. I think this music is not fitting.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Move.
What's all the noise?
Exactly. That's a success. Let's see if the goblin gets one. The goblin gets a success too. Manages to keep the distance. Also, I wouldn't get a say again. You have a -2 because it's nighttime, so you don't get to roll the skill die that you have.
Okay.
In fact, that means that I should be rolling one skill die for you that is in the negative. So, because you have -1 skill because it's nighttime.
Okay, I still have like a +5 in that skill.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, so I would basically be rolling my own die, a skill die for you, and if that scores a success, you get -1 on the move roll because it's dark. Basically, you can't see properly where to put the paws, and having been blinded by that lantern that the dwarf came with.
Can I? I can't push. Can I push?
You can absolutely push. That means that you get to roll 3. No, you get to roll 3 attribute dice.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Ignore that roll then.
Yep.
That should be dice. Oh, okay. So 3. And then I think I did that right.
Yep, you did that right.
Okay.
You take 1 point of, because I saw that you had a skull on that first roll.
Yes.
You take 1 point of damage to your agility as
Okay.
you're truck, and you also gain a willpower point for that.
Yeah.
As you're trucking through the tall grass, chasing after them, the goblin does get away
Okay.
because of this situation. And I did roll, in fact, a 6 on my negative skill die for you.
But I do still have his scent, correct?
You can use a willpower point to activate your kin talent and just
I will
track.
do that.
The dwarves are coming up behind you. Now they're armored up and filthy goblins. They're very angry. Did you let
Don't
them?
worry about it. I didn't let them get away. I didn't let them do anything. I do, however, have their smell now, so I know where they are.
They're looking at you. You can smell them?
Of course I can smell them. This nose isn't just for looks.
Ah, now they're looking at each other and just nodding their approval. Aha! How long can you smell them for? Do we have to go now in the dark, or can we wait till morning?
No, I can track them for a couple of days.
Ah, all right. Then I suggest we wait till morning, because it's probably better to not fight goblins at night.
Probably.
Very good. Ah,
Rita just shakes her head as she goes back to her tent.
they're patting as low as they reach. They're patting Frida on the back now that they know that you can in fact track them the next day.
Frida looks really uncomfortable because they're probably not getting very high.
No, they're not. They're just trying to give a friendly pat on the back, and then they give up because they don't reach that far.
By the time they're all coming back and stuff, I'm probably just rolling out of bed.
Yep.
Same.
Going, what's going on? Wait, it's done? And then I just
There were
just fall back
naked
in
blue. There were naked blue goblins.
turn around, shake my head, and just kind of flop back onto whatever passes for a bed.
Similarly, yeah.
And Frida, of course, can go back and have a good, proper sleep and heal up that agility point.
Yes.
And indeed, nothing more happens that particular night. Apparently, when inventory is taken in the early morning, the dwarves are grumpy. Of course, the guards are pleased though, because now they know that they can actually track these goblins. But the brothers, because it turns out, as I noted before, that the Trimble Twines are brothers. Thulman being super grumpy. Apparently, that was some of his nicest cutlery that the goblins made off of. Silver plates and goblets, no less. And now he's without it and has to eat from wooden bowls and a wooden goblet and wooden plate.
Frida is just. She looks absolutely just distaste. Like she's almost growling at his whiny, horrendous, fancy pants attitude.
We were supposed to make our fortune here, and look where we are, he says.
Marita has got like really bad bedhead and like dried blood on her clothes, and she's gonna like just pick up whatever's for breakfast with her hands and shove it in her face.
Thulman is shocked at her poor manners.
Frida sits down next to Marita and just kind of takes cues from her and starts to do kind of the same thing just to agitate him.
Yeah, Merble will simply make sure that he's sitting kind of far away from Marita. And, yeah.
Alright, So, I had this weird dream, something about a blue goblin.
That wasn't a dream. There were naked blue goblins. They ran away apparently with some silverware or something. I have their smell now, so we're gonna go track them in the woods.
Okay, well, hopefully that'll make it easier, and we can find them during the daytime when they won't maybe be as sneaky.
Hopefully. Although I don't know why they were naked or blue.
The leaf that I gave you to chew on, how much of that did you chew?
All of it?
That might be why they were blue.
Listen, I'm pretty big though. I could handle quite a bit of your concoctions. Don't they go by body weight or something?
If that makes you feel better, sure.
Well, you will definitely get one of the dwarven guards to go with you. And this guard will need a name. I'm gonna name her. She will be. How about Hamda? That works. Hamda, the dwarf warrior, will go with you. He has jet black hair, and wears the battle axe, mail, open helmet. Maybe she needs to have a backpack in case you have to be out overnight. You will carry that. She also has what counts for her as a large shield.
So I will go to the edge of the encampment in the direction I saw them run off and begin to pick up the scent again.
For sure. On her back, Hamda will also be lugging a heavy crossbow with a quiver of bolts to it.
Cool.
You know, in case you need to pull a trigger at some point. Yeah, but she's obviously not going to take the lead on this. She's not a tracker. She is a tank and will absorb any damage coming anyone's way with all that armor. So I guess that it is Marita who will take the lead. Is Green Walker going to go with you on this? That's going to be up to him, I guess.
Yeah, that would be up to him. But yeah, I will definitely do the pathfinding.
Do I assist her with my hunting instinct?
No, that's for tracking the goblins, basically. So
okay.
What Marita is going to do is basically keep you out of, find a safe route.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily cause you harm.
Okay.
And how do you convince someone to come with you? I.e., if Braynar wants to convince Greenwalker to come with.
Well, if he doesn't want to come with, it's a manipulation roll. But notice here that you're an old person.
Have your reputation.
Exactly. So that gets added to your manipulation roll. Not all of it, but so it depends on how it's basically a relative trait. So you compare your reputation to his, to the victim's reputation, if you will, and if you have more, then depending on how much more, you get a bonus to that roll. So
my reputation, I think, is 2 because I'm old.
Yes, so you definitely get at least a +1 on the die for that.
Okay.
Oh. Page 49. Yeah, okay. It's social combat, basically. There we go. There we go. Social conflict. You get to add to your side. Your reputation is higher, so that's +1. Yep. For every point of difference. So you have 2 reputation. He has none, so that gives you +2. In fact.
Okay. So how do I roll just one individual dice?
Yeah, he's not really here to chase goblins as such.
But his elder thinks it would be a good learning experience.
So you should have rolled. Let's see now. You have your manipulation is
0, but my empathy is 2.
Okay, so you get then yeah. You should have 2 skill dice though, because you have 2 in reputation.
So
That's 4 dice in total when you're talking to this. It's very FL.
oh, that can't be right. Sorry, guys.
Nope, that was a base dice.
Manipulation, 2 skill.
dice are red dice.
Yeah, I see that.
There you go. Boom, and 2 6s. Thanks to your reputation. Yes, Brennar will be talked into it. Please describe how you do convince this young fellow.
Very, very similar actually to what Frida previously described. So, Raynar would go over and basically say, you know what, it'd be a good experience for you to come into nature and you know, be one with the be one with your druid companion here, and come along. And you know, we could always use the additional bit of healing and help should we run into some awkward goblins. And I think it would be good for you to get away from the city and take your mind off of this ancient tomb that you're looking for.
Green Walker gets more and more sort of enthusiastic the more you talk, and yes, you're probably right. And if there is no tome here, then I could do some good in protecting the community that way. If you help, I do have, and he sort of looks over his packet of things. I can help with some things. For instance, in the dark, if we have to be out over dark, I could help illuminate the area a little bit. Not just torches, but through invocations. And I could help you with my sight and my hearing that I can, well, those are my trappings in this trade. Yes, I'm not a healer.
He
I
follows
see
other
things
paths.
myself. Yes,
Well,
Path of the Sight. I'm sure you've heard of it.
I have. It's something that I've been interested in learning. So perhaps, should we survive this encounter with goblins, I could show you a little bit of the healing arts, and you can maybe show me some of the sensory arts.
Yes, that sounds excellent. Very good. I would love to do that. Yes, I'm eager to learn.
alas.
Right. So Frida, you have a sense, so we know what direction to head in.
Yes, that direction.
She
That
points
way.
north.
All right, I will see if I can find us a safe pathway.
They smell like dirt and body paint.
I totally can find us a safe
This
way.
is true, in fact. Yes, there's something in that body paint that makes a quite distinct smell and just lingers there. It's almost like you can see the trail through the grass.
Cheap chemicals.
Yep. It's something mixed in with clay.
Oh,
They're
lovely.
smeared all over their body.
So I will find us a path through the grasses, through the trees, avoiding the various sinkholes and the muddy bits and the dangers that might be inherent in the ground.
Yep. Roll for lead the way.
I got 1 success.
That is enough. That is all you need. You will thus not experience a mishap as you travel into, in fact, a new hex that you have not been in before. In these forbidden lands.
Ooh.
It will move the party token accordingly. So, zooming in a bit, you will in fact move into this hex. That is equivalent, and I'm going to switch maps again here to, on this map, it's basically the hill area just to the northwest following the coastline. So that's where you're headed now. And this is not a dark forest. It's not heavy enough, heavily forested enough to be that way. And between really Marita's excellent navigational skills, she will take you along deer paths and help you avoid things like a sudden drop in the ground into a local stream that sort of cuts deeply in the underbrush. And potential loose rocks. It's a bit hilly around here, so it can be a rough climb here and there. Not too much, but certainly for unused feet unused traveling in this kind of terrain in the forest. Though I have a feeling that most people here are used to traveling in rough terrain in the forest. Certainly the wolfkin is feeling just like home. Not sure about Brenna.
This actually seems to make her agitated.
Here, chew on this. It'll help you to calm down.
No. Last time I chewed on one of those, I saw blue goblins.
How about Brenner? Is he used to traveling in the forest at all?
He'd probably get by, but he's more interested in seeing what forage that he could possibly do in the forest.
Well, if you want to take the time to forage, then that's going to actually distract you from tracking down the goblins.
No, not at this time. On the way back, maybe.
Yeah. Green Walker is definitely not used to walking around in this kind of terrain, and the words "babe in the woods" really apply well for this young person. You would think, judging by his mannerism and how he's walking, his body language, he's probably an elven spring. And also, the vocation of being a druid. But as such, maybe he's lived most of his times in the plains, and not so much in the deep forests. The rumor has it that these forests, and you would have heard people talk about that these forests ultimately are really the homes of elves. But maybe that's further deeper into the forest. Certainly right now, there is no elf bothering you. If they would be bothering you, who knows?
I'll be sure to point out to him that, like, when we cross one of the little streams, it'll be like the stream looks safe, but you can tell by the current that it's really strong, and if you were to fall in, it would probably rush you downstream and bash your head against the rocks, knocking you unconscious, and you would either bleed to death or drown before the stream actually pushed out into the river.
Green Walker is listening to every word you say very carefully.
I will espouse upon him my druidic wisdom, which is like
Indeed.
6 months more than his.
The dirt smell goes more this way.
Yeah.
So once we get into the area, then once we get into the forest deep enough, then we'll let Frida kind of take over the tracking.
Yep.
Try to catch up to these goblins as quickly as possible.
Yeah, for sure. It's not going to take you too long to get to that point. You started in the morning, and I mean you could travel through the entire. If you were just on a hike, you could travel through this entire area in prompt order. You could make even half a quarter day probably get through, because it's still, the terrain is still light enough to be not classified as rough.
Okay.
Yes, you can absolutely. It's still mid-morning by the time that Frida starts sniffing closer to the ground and basically feeling that we're probably getting close to our objective.
She starts to look
here.
more wolf, less human.
Yeah, and of course, Hamda, the dwarf warrior, has been trudging along, sort of bringing up the rear. There is no stealthing at all from Hamda. She's just, forcing her way through the undergrowth.
Crack, clunk, crack, clunk.
Yeah, you can hear that. All those old leaves from last season that are still lying on the forest floor, crunch, crunch under her heavy boots. So if you want to make a stealthy approach, she's probably not the one who's going to be taking the point on that.
I'm not very stealthy either, so
Yeah, not great.
Me either. I don't think we're a very stealthy party at all.
Apparently not.
That's fine.
Brennar isn't stealthy either.
No, not even remotely.
I'm good at cutting things in half, not sneaking up on them.
Sir, nice force fire.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, you can definitely follow the track, and it's leading you. There is a path that you're walking along, and soon enough, you see hills that are rising up inside this forest and kind of jutting up out of the forest cover, if you will. And to the foot of these hills is where this trail is taking you, basically.
I will start looking for openings in the hills to, assuming that they're caves of some kind.
Yeah, it's going to be basically a fairly narrow gorge, if you will, between a couple of hills. And it's trailing in towards there.
So if it's a narrow space, I will specifically have the dwarf come up front with me.
Yeah.
And I will have the rest of the party come to the rear so the two tanks can just go and swing it.
Very good. Let's have a look. So let's put you out on the map, shall we? I'm going to say that you're coming from the west here. And we have Frida. There we go. And Marita. You will not be taking point, I'm guessing. Marita?
oh, no, I will not be taking point.
And I don't have a good
I will take point with the dwarf next to my side.
I don't have a good symbol here for green. I wasn't anticipating Green Walker tagging along on this. So let's have a look at what I can find stand in for him.
Can I assume that the dwarf that came with us is one of the ones that I would have practiced with the day before?
Yeah, for sure. That works. I'm going to use this token for Green Walker. It's just something off the assets in Roll20. And our dwarf. I have a dwarf mage. That's it. Maybe in.
I know for my Roll20 games, I spend an inordinate amount of time making tokens.
Yeah. I can just use the knight token for her. Good enough. Though she does not wear pink armor. Saying.
There's nothing wrong with pink armor.
There isn't. It's just her particular taste. more into browns and blacks.
Hides the blood better.
Exactly. So yeah, you can control. Have I put you on the map there? Yeah, I have. You can control your tokens as you like there. Move ahead with those, and how about
Can we move the dwarf up some?
yeah. Let's see now. Thinking. No, that was kobolds. Not what I'm after. Okay, you're moving ahead. Who is gonna take point? I want one in the party, only one, to do a scouting check. It should be the best character for that. Because that's basically how it works in groups. You take either, if you're doing a stealth roll for the group, it's the weakest member of the group that does it. If it's a scouting roll, you're taking the best.
My
I'm thinking-
scouting is a 2.
That's probably you then. Now, scouting is a wits skill.
I've got a wits of 5.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys are better than I am.
What was
Frida
yours?
has a wits of.
Mine was only a 2.
Okay, so. Oh right, yeah, that's just your wits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely Marita taking the scouting here. Green Walker is not also, yeah, he's smart, but not as. So Marita can do the honors.
Alrighty.
Okay, you succeed with the scouting roll, and you will, as you're sneaking forward here, you will in fact notice before they have noticed you, even though you're not particularly stealthy. There are in fact something moving up ahead in just beyond the crossroads. Frida is basically following. This is like a deer trail that is more trampled up, and up ahead, I'll in fact try to put them up there. Why not? Want to have? That's not bad. There are a couple of goblins.
I will kind of go. Shh, shh, shh. There's folks up ahead, and
That's why it got stinkier.
Yep.
And I will ready my staff just in case.
Brainer, how close do you have to be to light things on fire?
I will be prepping my staff because I don't have enough willpower.
Okay. You guys stay quasi far behind then, so that I can concentrate my parries on the dwarf, and we can take the blunt of the attacks.
They have not discovered you yet because their scouting roll was terrible.
So
Okay.
I will whisper to the dwarf for her and I to move ahead so we can take the attack.
Yep. Yeah, she'll be fine with that. Are you just gonna charge them? Bumrush them? Is that the plan here?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Neither of us are very stealthy or more tanky.
True. Yes, this is all true.
So
In that case, we are going to exercise with both. We're gonna shuffle and deal the initiative cards. So let's see now. I'm gonna deal 1. Joshua. Rita.
just a second.
1, 2. Jessica. Then I need 1 for myself, which is going to be 9. I'm going to put that 9 here next to Hamda. She's going to be late. And then 1 to the goblins. Put that over there. Well, they'll be first whenever they get to act. But they haven't seen you yet, so that means that when they storm forwards, basically they will get a chance to attack you before you can attack them. And this then enters us into the hidden combinations. So they will hear you when you're starting to rumble through. What's your card number there, Frida?
Frida just stepped away for the bathroom for a moment.
Oh, okay. Get on the skirmish. Because we need to do the hidden combinations. They're probably gonna... I can probably put out her card. No, I'm not gonna steal the card. Okay, I can't actually see her card right now. That's how it works.
There's a setting under decks,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be like players see faces, game master sees faces.
Okay.
And then
Okay, numbers of cards in others' hand. Player sees, DM sees. What are the cards? Is that the one? Maybe?
yeah, it should be either number of cards or front of cards.
Okay. Yeah, front of cards.
Yeah, so if you click the DMC's
Oh,
front
she
of
has an 8.
cards.
Okay, there we go. So, basically what happens now is Frida's going to charge ahead. But now we're going to do some hidden combinations here. So, Frida, who are you going to pick as your opponent here? You have the purple-haired goblin, you have the brown-haired goblin, and you have one with a bow. Is she back? Oh, maybe she's not. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so who are...
Sorry,
Yeah, no
I will
problem.
take the purple-haired goblin because he's right in the front.
All right, so...
Yeah.
If you go into the card deck that I have there, which is the hidden combinations one, Close Combat, you can pick 2 cards. And so you will have to choose cards from these cards, and I'll do that as well.
Choose or draw?
No, you choose which maneuvers that you want to do. And then we put them on the board at the same time, because you don't know what the goblin is going to do, and I don't know what you are going to do. So let's see now, what will I do? I'm gonna do... Yeah, because it's a big, scary wolfkin. They've never seen that before. So I'm gonna do this one and that one. Yeah. So this is a 2-step process. So basically, you're gonna have to maneuver first, right, to get close to the goblin.
Yep.
And since the goblin is in a different zone, this is marked by the yellow markings there. You will be able to get up to them, but not any closer than that. So basically, you're moving there. That's as close as you get, because then it gets to be rough terrain.
Okay.
So basically, it's a standoff situation between you.
Yep.
The goblin is like, whoa! And that's basically the stance that all of the goblins are taking right now. This goblin is preparing the bow, and will be able to lose the bow against one of you. I think that's probably going to be the wolfkin, because the wolfkin looks scarier than anyone else.
Unless the dwarf shoots it first.
Yeah, unless the dwarf shoots it first. I suppose I could shoot it. She does have a heavy crossbow, and it would be at the ready. So yeah, I'll do that with Hamda. Marksmanship, which he doesn't have a lot of. But the crossbow does add something. Marksmanship. She rolls.
Oof.
Nope. Instead, well, if she pushes that roll, she will break her crossbow. So that arrow goes wide. That's her action for this turn, basically. She will next turn probably just join you in the fray because she fired her shot. Someone is breathing loudly. Chris, is that your mic? I don't know. So yeah, that's basically it for this turn. They're waiting for you to charge, and you're coming up very close, and they're chittering and chattering. They're wearing leather armor and spears and small shields, and basically just bracing themselves from this absolute.
And I will be growling like an attack dog.
Yep. Meanwhile, Brennar and everyone else, what are you doing? Green Walker is kind of just keeping away at this moment. Marita, are you number 3 here?
Yeah, I got a 3.
Okay, go ahead. What are you doing?
When I first saw the goblins, I ducked into the underbrush, and I'm just gonna continue to try to stay hidden.
Yeah.
But to move closer.
Okay. Yeah, you can get into the underbrush this turn because it's a different zone, basically. That's the same for Brennar then. All right, top of a new round. Now I have the initiative here because, the goblins are ready to go. And there's, in fact, 2 goblins confronting Frida as well as an archer. Now, the archer is not going to shoot into this melee. Instead, it's going to shoot at Hamda. Because she had a big crossbow. So, archer you do will. She will loosen that arrow. It's a sling, really, rather than a bow. But so there we go. It shoots and hits. Oh dear. Now I'm not gonna do the rolling here for Hamda because she has so many points of armor that's probably not gonna go through. So in the interest of speed, we'll move along to Frida, 2 goblins. They have spears. That gives... Basically, I'm just giving one of the goblins an extra skill die for being backed up by a second one. To abstract things a little bit. No, I'm not doing that. They're both going to attack you in different capacities.
Of course they are.
Of course they are. So, let's see now. I'm going to pick my combination cards here.
Okay. Do I need to pick more too?
Yep. So basically it will be... So I guess we say 1, 2, 3 and place them. The tricky bit with this is really to... So this is basically what they will be doing. Attack and defend.
I am attack and I think it says prepare.
Yeah. Now prepare is something that you don't really have to do right now. I'm going to allow you to draw another one if you need to do that.
Oh, okay.
Because you already have your sword at the ready.
Sorry, I have a hard time breathing when they're in there too.
Yeah, sorry, they're pretty small, aren't they?
No, that's okay. I will...
One thing you can do, which is a fast action, that could be an interesting combination, and I'm just, giving it to you for free here, is the hinder card.
Okay.
Because that allows you to basically spoil their attack. If you have, or you can just do a defend. I can't really see.
Oh yeah, it works with my parry.
Yeah, maybe just a defend then. They will attack and basically spoil your attack. That's what's going to happen. So Goblin is rolling for an attack. If you take any damage from this, you won't be able to do your attack. You're basically caught off guard in a way.
Okay. I
So
will.
it's a short spear, and they have a +1 for that. So
I will do the hinder so that I can parry them.
I mean, if you're defending, it's the same, right? So
Oh, okay. Well, defend wasn't on there.
it wasn't.
No.
Huh. Should be defend should be there. Interesting, because it's the guy with the shield on here that I have pulled out.
Yeah, I didn't see him on there.
Okay, that's weird. You should have it. Okay, I'll fix that. If you want to defend, I'll allow it.
Okay, I will defend because I
All right.
have the shield.
You do. So basically, I am rolling melee. Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that didn't go well for the goblin at all.
So now I roll my melee.
Yep,
Okay.
you do. Except we have 2 goblins and they both move before you, so I'm going to roll the other one as well. Whoop. The second attack. The second melee attack does hit you.
So now I roll a parry.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
You do get a free parry.
Sorry, I'm making
Was
my
that
sheet
parry?
work.
Well, that's
No.
enough. Oh, you haven't rolled it. Okay, sorry.
No, that was my attack roll.
Well, it's the same roll, so I mean.
Oh, is it?
You haven't added your gear dice here.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll call that my parry then.
Then you should add another gear die as well, because you do have the shield, right? So
Do you want me to re-roll it then?
this is a stab. I'm gonna bring out the combat tables. Since you are stabbing,
So that is for my parry.
yeah, they are stabbing, and you are parrying with a shield. It gives you +2 to your skill.
Okay.
So basically, what you're doing is you're taking your melee skill. You add 2 more skill dice to that, and that dice pool, because you're
Oh.
using a
Okay.
shield to parry the stab.
I mean, I passed anyway, but let's
Yes,
see.
you did. But it's
There
for
we go.
future reference. There you go. So yes, you have absolutely no problem parrying that stab from the second goblin.
So now I attack?
So now you attack.
Okay,
And
so that is
remember your-
2 gear die for my sword.
Exactly. Is this a slash or a stab that you're doing?
This will be a stab, I guess.
Okay, that means that they will have to parry with their shields.
I know, I'm just trying to see the combat in my head. Yeah, stab would make the most sense.
Okay,
Ooh,
if they have a shield. I haven't even given them a shield. Oh dear, that's bad for them. That means that if they parry with anything, they parry with a short sword, but they haven't prepared it yet, so they can't parry. They would have to dodge you.
I didn't do very well anyway.
This is true. They do not have to dodge you. You missed the goblin.
Can I
Okay.
push?
You
Do I wanna
can't.
push?
It's gonna hurt you, and it's gonna hurt your longsword.
Alright, I'm not gonna push then.
All
I will
right,
wait.
you're fighting with these goblins. They are stabbing you as much as they can, which is not nearly enough. Your shield is getting in the way.
I'm
You're
far too
trying-
distracted with the shield to be able to stab.
Yeah. In the meantime, Hamda is going to move up next to you. She can't fight this turn because she's moving. And that means that we need to find a better way to handle these hidden combinations. It's really tricky to do it on Roll20. But we'll get to that later on. What is everyone else doing? Marita?
I am just going to move into this zone over here if I can.
You can do that, yes. It'll take you both your maneuvers to get there, but you can do it.
Yep, that's fine. This way I'm a little bit closer to where the fighting's happening in case anybody goes down.
Green Walker will follow Brennar's lead. He's clearly looking up to him as a mentor. Where is Brennar going?
Pretty much to the edge of this.
All right. He'll be following suit here. He can't do too much in a fight, mind you, because of course he is not the fighting type. That brings us right back on top of the round. This goblin will move out here in a flanking maneuver and prepare the bow for the next turn. Reloading, basically. Now these goblins have 2 fighters to fight against. And this is looking really scary, so I'm gonna say that they will try to move away, in fact. They will try to run. So the first goblin... I'm gonna make a move roll here. That's a success. Run away, screaming in the forest. And the second one. Oh, they are fast and agile, running through the forest away from the very scary dwarf and wolfkin. Frida, you're up, I guess? No, you're not up, because number 3 is, in fact, Marita. Marita?
So you can move 1 zone, right?
Yep.
Okay. I will move up to here. And I will see if I can find like a rock or something that I can throw at a goblin on the way. I suppose I'd have to prepare that, wouldn't I?
Yes, that's a preparation indeed.
So if I can, I'll move and see if I can find a rock to prepare to throw.
Yep, that's yeah, you'll find a rock. So you move and you found a rock. There we go.
Okay. All right,
You
I'm
have
good.
it in your hand, you can throw it next turn if you haven't exited the map by then.
I'll be like,
There you
oh, this looks like a good size.
Yeah. Frida,
I have a spear. Can I throw it at them?
you can. It takes you first the fast action to prepare it, and then you throw it.
Okay.
So basically, you're dropping your longsword, you're taking your throwing spear, and you're chucking it. So
And that is marksmanship.
indeed, do not forget the extra die, the gear die for the throwing spear.
I have a... I don't?
No, you have 2 dice for having a throwing spear. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got a bonus for it.
exactly, do add those 2 dice, gear dice. Is this against who are you throwing this against?
This is against the one that's running away from me.
Okay.
Oh, that's supposed to be marksmanship. I have a thing. Why is it not letting me do the thing?
Marksmanship. And go to your equipment. Black dice.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
but it's... Okay,
Yeah.
as soon as I click... There we go.
Oh, how about that? You're just leaning into it and throwing that spear,
Mm-hmm.
and sure enough, it sails through the air and hits the goblin.
It does like 1 damage.
That was a good roll. You had 2 successes, which means an extra point of damage.
Ah, so it does 2 damage.
Yes, or you can use the stunt to slow it down or things like that.
Can I stop him from running away?
Yep.
Okay, I will stop him
Nail
from
him in
running
the ground.
away.
1 point of
Yeah.
damage and nail him in the ground. I'm gonna roll an armor roll for the goblin to see if indeed. There we go. Nope, the leather did not protect the goblin. It has taken 1 point of damage. That spear
Strong like
slashes
wolf.
through the side and just kind of nails the goblin into the thick undergrowth. Hamda will try to keep up with that goblin ahead, but in armor and everything, that might not work. Except it does, apparently. 2 successes.
Spurred on by the Wolfkin's
Yeah, she
vigor.
barreled through. Yeah, so I'm gonna put her just right up there. These goblins have trouble getting away from these attackers. That much is clear. So yeah, that brings us right back to top of the round with the goblins again. One goblin is hurt and can't escape. The other goblin might be able to escape and will definitely try to again. Ah, that's a success. I'm gonna say that this goblin actually manages to escape. Because the map ends here. The other one will shoot Hamda basically in the back. Because she's that close. And then try to move away as well. Now, being that close with a ranged shot. Combat tables again. Shooting range. She is really near. No problems at all. So that is no difference in modification. For the goblin. Marksmanship. Sling gives her +1. There we go. That's a hit. Takes an extra point of damage from the sling. But Hamda has a lot of armor, as you might be able to tell. That's her armor. 8 dice of it. But it's not enough this time. Hamda actually takes a point of damage. You can hear how that stone just bang in the back of her head against that helmet and really rings her noggin properly. She has taken a point of damage. She's still up. She's still strong and she can fight through it for sure. But it did ring out good. And that brings us to Frida.
I think I go after the goblins.
Yes, you do. Okay, Marita, you're throwing a rock?
I am going to throw a rock. I don't care about the dwarf, so I don't care that she got shot in the back. But there's this one that is attacking. There's one that didn't get away, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the one I shot in the leg.
Right. That one I will throw my rock at.
Okay. Marksmanship.
And I'm going to assume there's no gear die for a rock.
I don't think so.
Ooh. Nope. Rock goes flying off into the woods.
There is no bonus for a rock, but it does one point of damage. Yeah, it just flies through the forest. You still have a fast action if you need one.
I'll ready another rock.
Okay, you ready another rock. Frida is your number. Who's number 7? Is that Brenner?
Yep.
Okay, Brenner, what do you do?
So he's going to move from that zone to near the archer.
Yep.
And since I'm switching between zones, can I attack this turn or no?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Green Walker follows you. Like a pupil follows his master. And that brings us to Frida.
So, how far can I move and attack? Or can I?
You can, since you're in the same zone, you can move right up to a goblin and attack.
Okay, so I'm going to move up.
Spend your fast action, so you won't be able to defend.
I'm going to move up to the one that I nailed to the ground.
Yep.
Actually, no, I'm going to go to the one with the arrow, because protecting people.
Yep.
And I'm going to swing.
Swing it. The goblin will dodge, including going prone, because this is super scary.
I do have a very big sword.
You do, and you're 8 feet tall.
There is that.
Nobody wants to be close to that swing. So a dodge against the slash that gives +2. This goblin will definitely have use for that.
I got a success.
Well, the goblin gets a success too, which means the goblin is slippery enough to throw itself on the ground. The goblin is now prone. Lying flat on the ground, you swung above it, basically. Now, of
Okay.
course, Hamda is right next to you and noticed that thing. So, bang.
Axe to the head.
Yep, pretty much. And now she's prone, so, you know, that the goblin, don't know if the goblin can do too much about that. So there we go. That's a hit. Yeah, that goblin is hit by Hamda's battle axe. That heavy axe just impacting on the goblin. I'm gonna roll its armor. And that's the only thing that can save the goblin now, except it can't. Yeah, the goblin is lying there and just taking that hit over this, right over the torso, and just squeals as the axe cuts into its flesh. There's lots of goblin blood now. We're on top of the round. I think this goblin is going to try to undo the spear. That's its turn. It's basically digging up the spear from the ground, and that's what it's done. The other goblin is terribly hurt at this point, with I think it's 2 points of damage for a battle axe. Yep. So it's not dead yet, I don't think. Or is it? No, it's not. But it's gonna try to get away from everyone. I don't know if it can at this stage. Move away! The goblin is screaming and screeching and very good at weaving between swords and all those other contraptions that can kill it. So it does get away, in fact. The other goblin is also trying to move out of dodge. They're fast little runners, that's for sure. Yep. Both these goblins manage to get away and out of harm's way before you can stop them. That was a brutal battle. You hurt them, but they took, you know, the good judgment of not fighting till the end against such ferocious foes. And hurt, wounded, they managed to get out of range from their pursuers. For now.
I'm not done with them.
I am pretty sure you are not. And before you lies, you can see that, you know, the path that you have been walking on, that they fled along, it leads further down into between two hills and basically into, there's a some kind of crag there, some kind of opening that they threw themselves into. They're dashing towards as fast as their little legs can carry them.
Hey, Brainer, how big of a fire can you make?
Well, we'll have to see next time, because we are in fact getting to the end of the session for tonight. And your adventures confronting the goblins that have stolen things from the dwarves will continue in 2 weeks from now.
Excellent.
Indeed. Just as a sort of final bonus before we end the stream tonight, I just wanted to also showcase to you guys just how much nostalgia the illustrations of these books are to me. I brought this this is one of the first adventure books that I ever bought for any role-playing game. This came out in 1984. This is one of the earliest things that we had in Sweden. This was our role-playing game back then. It was not Dungeons and Dragons. It was Dragons and Demons is the translation. I've kept it since I was a kid because collector. This is called The Island of Mists, if you will. And that illustration on the front page, you can in fact find in the Gamemaster's Guide to this game. And there are plenty of others like it in the rule books from that game from the early 80s, because Nisse Gulliksson, Mr. Gulliksson, he was basically our illustrator. So my generation of Swedish role players have grown up with his illustrations, and that just sets right the mood right there. What type of classic fantasy that the Forbidden League have imagined for this world. So
That's pretty
for
cool.
me, this is just pages of nostalgia with those illustrations.
That's awesome.
Well, that'd be like
Right.
the old Dragon magazine stuff with
Pretty much.
the
Yeah.
Hildeband brothers and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we didn't have D&D, or I mean, we could buy it and so on, but for an 11-year-old kid in those days, reading that type of English was really hard. I tried. I bought the red box, and I tried to read it with like a dictionary next to me, and I think I got through a chapter or so, and then I just, nope, it's too hard.
That's pretty cool.
Well, we had only just started learning English in school at that point, so it was really hard to read any original English source material at that point. That was just
That's still awesome though, that you even would try, because that's intense.
it was intense. I gave up. I'm telling you, I gave up. I came back to it in high school when we had learned a lot more English, and roll master, Warhammer, all that stuff. So yeah, but yeah. So I just wanted to. This is nostalgia here. A great nostalgia. All right. See you everybody in 2 weeks. Thank you very much for watching. We'll
Yep.
see what the adventurers find as they breach the Goblin Hills. Maybe. We'll see if they.
Smoke them out.
Exactly.
All right, we'll see you guys.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Right.
Bye.